Hello, and a very warm welcome to this tutorial. My name is Megan Brewer, and I'm recording this from Ottawa, Canada. So in this tutorial, we will be revisiting some of the theory and the impact of educational dialogue, building on what was already covered in the introductory courses that you may have completed already. This will really help you prepare for your inquiry as we run through the key components of a dialogic approach. There are reflective prompts that we have included over the 3 pages of this section, and those should really help you revisit some of the key concepts of educational dialogue and think through how they relate to your settings specifically. So to begin, what is educational dialogue? In dialogue, participants listen to each other. They contribute by sharing their ideas, justifying their contributions, and engaging critically but respectfully with others' views. In particular, they explore and evaluate different perspectives and reasons. Relevant questions and contributions are linked between speakers, allowing knowledge to be built collectively within a lesson or event, or over a series of interconnected events. Although verbal interactions are central, dialogue can also be supported with silent, non-verbal communication, for example, gestures or facial expressions or eye contact, and also by using visual or technology resources. Some features of dialogue already appear in many educational settings, but sustaining dialogue that is productive for learning, that's what takes time. It might also challenge some participants, especially if they are not used to expressing their views at length or having them examined in a public setting. Here's an example on the screen from a T-SEDA case study that was conducted in New Zealand. The teacher says, "Can you talk to me about what your talk rules are?" And by the way, we will talk about talk rules a little bit later. Student R says, "You need to listen to each other and share your ideas." Student J says, "With the quiet people, you let the quiet people have a say in it." Student R adds, "Not just the loud people." And student S adds, "And not just listen, but think about what you hear." It is also important to mention the difference between dialogue and talk. Students and educators, of course, talk a great deal throughout the day. This talk can have many different purposes, giving instructions, students chatting together, or sharing information. However, these examples are not what we mean by educational dialogue. Even when students talk together during learning situations, they may not be engaging in educational dialogue. Take this example from a teacher who has used the T-SEDA resources. Some students let their learning partner do all the talking, or they would state their thoughts without listening to what their learning partner said. Some pairs either did not talk at all or their talk was off topic. The children were not able to structure their discussions and they did not understand the purpose of their talk. And that was by Natalie. This course and the T-SEDA materials help you to look and listen out for where dialogue is and importantly where it is not happening, like Natalie did. We have also included a link below this tutorial to a collection of video clips of dialogic teaching in UK classrooms. So, ground rules. Let's talk about them in a little bit more detail. When it comes to enabling educational dialogue, there really needs to be a positive classroom culture in place. Getting a group of learners to engage in productive dialogue takes time. Students might not be used to sharing their ideas publicly or even having other students disagree with them. Some students will probably be very keen to share their ideas and others will not like speaking at all. Ground rules or talk rules, as we touched on a moment ago in that example that was on the screen, are a really good way of helping all students feel comfortable to share and to challenge ideas. These rules let all students know what's expected of them and what's expected of others during discussions. They should be created with the students. For example, you could ask the students to share their ideas about what they think ground rules should be. Ground rules can also be used with adults and in online dialogue. If you wish to explore this further, Scale 2F offers a tool for rating student participation levels and measuring their input into creating ground rules. And we've included that on the last page of this section, practical tips and resources for promoting dialogue, as well as in the tools and templates section of the course at the end in 10B. There's also an activity on the third page of this section to watch one of our informative videos on ground rules to help you really consider what kind of ground rules might be useful in your context specifically. So group work. You'll see on the last page in this section on practical tips and resources that we review the added value of group work for dialogue. High quality group work is strongly linked with learning gains. There's a study by Christine Howe that we reference on this, which is really worth taking a look at. And this is especially when participants have different views. Students can learn from each other. They can rehearse ideas in a less stressful environment before sharing their progress with students in other groups or in the whole class arena. Learners need to learn to communicate and work effectively together in groups. Often, they're not naturally skilled at this. As we mentioned, ground rules can get learners in the habit of listening, in the habit of referencing others and expressing agreement or respectfully challenging and giving reasons. Support for dialogue in which learners engage with each other's ideas needs to be built into the activity design. For example, requiring students to work together in order to succeed and aiming to stimulate reasoned debate. Talking points are a really great activity for this. They are statements, they are not questions, that students are asked to agree or disagree respectfully with during discussion. They may be provocative, curious, interesting, true, false. They may aim to generate factual or imaginative responses. And like ground rules, they can be used in group work or in whole class discussions. On the next page, we've linked to the library where you can search for talking points to see how this tool has been used in varied contexts, sectors, and settings. And this can hopefully give you inspiration for how it might be applied to your own setting. So that's it for this tutorial, for this section. We would encourage you to review this page and the two other pages in this section and complete the reflective prompts and activities throughout. You'll also see a number of examples and further resources. These include a very wide range of contexts, and while you're very free to review everything that we've included, you can also just select the topics or the subjects or the grade levels that are most relevant to you in your setting. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next tutorial.